Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Nurse O and it's a beautiful Saturday morning here. So I woke up this morning and I have seen a lot of messages on my DM asking me various questions, especially regarding the new Nova Scotia RN licensure process. And I felt like this is just a lot for me to respond to individually. So I've just decided to quickly put up this video just to address so many concerns that people are having regarding the new RN licensure process for Nova Scotia. So let's just quickly talk about this. So for all international nurses, especially nurses that are licensed in countries like UK, US, Nigeria, Philippines, India, Australia, New Zealand, I think about 8 countries were listed on their website. So at the end of this video, I'm going to be dropping the link so that you can actually assess if your country is among those listed countries. So if you're among them, then I say congratulations, because it's a new development, which means you will no longer require any credential evaluation before you can apply to this board of nursing. I mean Nova Scotia. Before, we all know that as international nurses, you all need to go through NNAS, which happens to be the only evaluation body available then, for them to evaluate your credentials, your work experience, and your license verification, so that they can actually see if all of these is comparable to Canadian standard before you can now proceed to your nursing regulatory board. But now for Nova Scotia, you no longer need any form of credential evaluation, which means if you just make up your mind today that you want to apply to Nova Scotia College of Nursing, you just apply directly to this body. You don't have to do either NNAS evaluation or any education credential assessment such as WES, ICAS, and all the likes. So all you just need is just to go online and apply to Nova Scotia College of Nursing board directly. And basically you'll be needing 5 things. The first thing you'll be needing is your proof of English proficiency, of course. Officially they recognize IELTS and CELBAN, of course. You need 2 pieces of identification, I mean government ID. You need to send your verification of registration from your country to them directly. If you're an international student, you also need to do criminal record check. And lastly, you'll be needing your online application, of course. So those are the basic 5 things that you need to open up your application. And as soon as they receive your application, they are going to make decision on this. And the good thing about Nova Scotia is that you'll be eligible as an international student to challenge NCLEX at least once. So which means they will give you option of challenging NCLEX for 1 sitting. And another benefit of this province is that you will be able to get eligibility for provisional license, which means when you have applied to this body and you have sent in all the required documents, this body will likely give you a provisional license for you to allow you practice as a registered nurse in their province. And of course, this license will last you for 4 months, and you can always renew it at every 3 months. Like you have 3 attempts, 3 more chances for you to renew it. So which means at the end of the day, you have about 1 year to work as a registered nurse with this provisional license while you are preparing for your NCLEX. And that is all about Nova Scotia. Another province I usually recommend for international nurses is College of Nurses of Ontario, due to their benefits. And here's the benefit. We all know that for you to be a registered nurse in Ontario, you have to pass through NNAS, because you have to do your credential evaluation, get your advisory report before you can apply to CNO. But here is the benefit. Even if you have gotten not comparable as your report from NNAS, but you've been able to pass your NCLEX either from Australia or from the US, College of Nurses of Ontario will take that NCLEX result from you to bridge both your NCLEX examination requirement and your educational gap. This is the meaning of what I'm saying. You know, if you have gotten your report and it says not comparable, that means your education from your country is not comparable to Canadian standard, and that requires you either to go for further courses like bridging courses, or you challenge OSCE exam before you can now be considered to sit for your NCLEX exam. But if you have gone extra mile by going to either Australia or US to request for authorization and you have passed your NCLEX, College of Nurses of Ontario will take that NCLEX result from you to meet two requirements, which are your nursing council examination, which is NCLEX, and at the same time your education gap. And that is the benefit of College of Nurses of Ontario. Then one of my favorite province as well is New Brunswick. I'll still advise people that are still interested in exploring this province to go ahead with this province. But recently there were some changes that they made, especially with the advisory report percentage. Before, usually New Brunswick used to consider giving 2 attempts to international nurses. Usually they want to give them 2 attempts to pass within 6 months. But of recent, they have amended their rules, like they made few changes, but they are still giving authorization. But the only clause is that you have to have a very high percentage from your NNAS report. Before, they still consider people with maybe 33, 35, 38% advisory report. But recently, I think they made a kind of change to this percentage. Like if you don't have up to like 50%, or maybe something above 45%, they are not really giving out ATT. But it won't still be a bad idea for you if you still want to consider this province. And lastly, I will quickly talk about the British Columbia College of Nurses and Midwives again, because I still got questions about people asking me, what do you mean by nursing skills and knowledge assessment? So what I basically mean by this is that as part of NCAS requirements, after submitting your WES report, your verification of license, proof of English, your everything, it is mandatory for all international nurses that you have to do nursing skill and knowledge assessments. And this exam is in 2 parts. The first part is the one they call computer-based test, which you can take at any center, at any prometric center. Like even if you are in Nigeria, you are in UK, you are in Ghana, as long as you have any prometric center, you can take it over there. And this computer-based test is also in 2 parts. They have the one for multiple choice and the multiple select. And what they mean by multiple choice is that they are giving you a question and they are giving you 4 options, which means you have to pick one. And the multiple select, they are giving you 6 options in a question. And out of these 6, 3 are correct, which means they want you to select 3 options. And this is the part 1 of the computer-based exam. And for the second part, this one they call it the SLA, the simulated lab test. This one you have to be in Canada before you can take it, and this is where the problem comes, because a lot of people want to explore British Columbia. Of course, I know everybody will want to explore it due to the benefits, like you don't have to go through NNAS that will take you about 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years. And another benefit is that the government of British Columbia provided a lot of funds available for international nurses. But what about the issue of this NCAS assessment? That is where the problem lies, because before you can have this exam, you have to be in Canada, and that requires you to have a visa, valid visa. So if you don't have a valid visa, either through PR, student route, work visa, whatever, anyhow you just plan to get to Canada, you might not be able to take this test. And this simulated lab test is just like our common OSCE that we do in our country, whereby they will put you in various stations, and you will have an examiner that will be monitoring you. They give you different procedure, different mannequins that you play with, you toy with, you explain, that you just have to keep talking. So this requires a lot of preparation even if at all you have to take this exam, and that is for British Columbia. So for NNAS, let's quickly talk about these, especially for the few changes that they've made. We all know that before, English requirement is a must for you to have before you can have your advisory reports. But since last year, October 2022, they've waived these requirements, which means you can now have your advisory reports without having to submit your proof of English proficiency at NNAS level. But of course, by the time you move to your nursing regulatory board, these people might still be asking you for your proof of English. So which means you must not just feel so relaxed that thank God I've gotten my advisory report, because your nursing regulatory board might still be asking you for proof of English in form of either CELBAN or IELTS. And the second thing is that if you have passed your NCLEX either from US or from Australia or from anywhere on or before April 2023 this year, you will no longer be required to submit your curriculum from your school, which means they will only give you your advisory report based on your NCLEX results that you have provided for them. And these are the few changes that has happened with NNAS. So quickly, I just want to address some few other questions that I got, like, do I need express entry account for Nova Scotia application? No, you don't need express entry application for Nova Scotia application, because there are two different things. The first one is your RN licensure application, and the other one is how do you plan to migrate to Canada. That is when you should be talking about express entry. So you don't need this for Nova Scotia application. Another thing is, can I use band 6 for immigration? Anyways, you can check for the required band under IRCC website. I can as well drop this link for you to access so that you can see the required band. But I would just say that there's actually no required band or like kind of set band for you. But you know, the higher your band, the better the chances of you being selected when you are already in the pool. I mean, when you've created your express entry application. So usually it's good if you can have 8 in your listening and you can have 7 in every other band. So this will really boost your score. Another thing is, if I have academic IELTS, can I use it for express entry? Well, you cannot use academic IELTS for express entry. For all immigration purposes, you need IELTS general, and there's a required band that you need. Like I said, it's always good if you can have 8 in listening and 7 in every other band, so that you can have better chances. And the last question I have is, do I need NCLEX after my NCAS? Of course, NCLEX is a national exam for all international nurses. So whether you have gone through NCAS, you have gone through NNAS, you have gone through other credential evaluation body, at the end of the day, you are still coming back to write your NCLEX before you can now become a Canadian RN. And so these are just the few things I've just decided to quickly talk about. Please, if this is your first time of coming across my YouTube channel, please don't forget to subscribe, to hit the notification bell, so that each time I drop a new video, you get notified. And regarding this video I've made, if you have any comments, you have any clarification again, please feel free to drop them for me in the comment section. I promise to get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you so much for watching.